Hey guys, welcome back to Squad Iko Sawa podcast, and this is episode 4. So welcome back. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, you can go give that a look.
Yes,
and if this is your first time, be sure to click the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And stay in for good conversations. And today, what are we talking about? Drum rolls, please. Navigating conflict.
Yeah.
A topic many people dread.
Yeah.
But we saw it fit
For sure.
to have this conversation with you. So if you're here with us, my name is Muhanji.
My name is Shani.
Welcome to
Squad Iko Sawa.
So hi babe.
Hi.
How have you been?
I've been okay. Currently in a long distance relationship with my man.
Oh man.
Because he's traveling a lot for work. But I'm good. Apart from that, crying every night to sleep. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm good. Can't complain. Working on a few things and I'm seeing a lot of progress and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm just hoping that they will now bring forth fruit. I'm ready. I'm ready
Yes.
to eat.
Yes.
Yes, that's
You
how I
shall
am.
eat the fruit
Oh,
of your work.
come on. How are you?
I'm really great, partly coping
Yes.
because I think the whole of Feb we have just been traveling
Yeah.
from place to place. So
Yeah.
I think only the first week I've been home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine.
so coming
It's been
week,
rough, yeah.
I'm also traveling. That's why you missed the live last week.
Yeah, we typically try and have an Instagram live every week just to recap every episode. And then if you have any questions that you guys can or want to ask, you can just come on the Instagram live and we can really interact there.
Yeah.
But this past week we were unable to because somebody came over the weekend and they're traveling again. And yeah, so as you can tell, I'm dealing greatly with this information. But I am happy for you.
Yeah.
I really am.
Enlargement really started early.
Yes.
You know, but I'm
Yeah.
happy about it. I think coping. I think a bit of tiredness, I would say. Yeah, because of all the
travel.
the
Yes.
travel back and forth and the edits.
Yeah.
So it has been quite a work week.
Work month.
Work.
I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like, yeah.
work month.
Yeah.
And praying for God for good stewardship because it's hard right now.
Yeah.
It's hard, but we bless the Lord all the same, and I'm really happy that how people are interacting with our content right now. And Squad Iko Sawa, like you meet someone in the mall, whoa, I saw your podcast. You
Yeah.
know?
That's really nice.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just like I know the musician part, and then it's like, oh, I
Now
also
I'm
saw
getting
your
to know.
podcast.
I actually feel like the content that I've been posting, the lifestyle content, has really like opened us up to show people like other sides of our personality, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm a bit lucky on that one, but
No,
hey,
completely understand. Don't even stress. The fact that you're here shooting,
hey.
yeah, you're
Muhanji the
doing so
traveler
well.
for you guys.
Yes.
Catch you on Instagram, Muhanji the double I.
Are you gonna post our carousel?
Oh yeah,
Thanks, please.
I probably gonna post it. Should I do it like at night?
Like
Not
Kesho.
really. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Kesho.
But I'll do. So for those of you who watched the intro and are wondering what this conversation is about,
Yeah.
we were just layering it for you so that when you come in, take your popcorns, take your
Yeah.
biscuits, your snacks, and sit down. Let's have a chat. I think conflict is such a touchy issue. I feel like because all healthy and unhealthy relationships have that in common.
Yeah.
I think
That's the first misconception, that if it's healthy
Yeah.
or if your relationship is good or friendship, you shouldn't have conflict, and that's not true at all.
At all.
At all, yeah.
At all. So, like, I think that's the one thing they share. That
Why do you
it's
think?
both.
Why do you think people have conflict? Like, why can't we all just love each other? You know, like, why can't we all just live in harmony and peace?
Wow,
Because when
that
I think
would
about
be-
conflict,
Yeah.
maybe people think about like arguments. You know, like extremely heated arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's different levels to it.
Yeah,
So maybe
definitely.
why do you think people conflict?
I think people conflict because we are always trying to. It's a fight of trying to be understood. And the other person also, it's a fight of trying to be understood.
Yeah.
So you want someone to understand you, and you also want the other person wants you to understand them. So I think it's a fight or a clash of personalities.
Yeah.
The how.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people feel like, I feel like there's usually like a path that people think this path is the right path.
Yes.
And then you have someone, say your partner, your friend, even parents, your teacher, like someone, because conflict is, it's
Just
not like a
with
monolith.
anyone you're in a
Anyone, it could
relationship with.
happen. Even the kange inomat, your Uber driver, that's conflict.
For sure.
You see, so it's like there's a way that
Nimeleta ngapi? Siwezi fika huko madam.
hiyo haiwezi. Nikirudi ndakuwa nimechoma.
Ndachoma mafuta.
So it's like it's sort of like I would say like a seesaw effect.
Yeah.
One goes up, the other one goes down. So it's usually like I think of conflict as a way of it's like a game of tag. You want to be understood, and you also want to
understand someone.
Yes. So and I think many people navigate it badly. That's why it usually like causes a rift so much.
Yeah.
Because people always people feel like they're the ones who know. And well, you might know, but you're always not the only way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the tough pill to swallow in conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, I agree with what you're saying. Maybe what I would add also is, I think part of the reason as to why also people conflict is just based on a myriad of factors, like different personalities, different backgrounds, like how you are raised. For example, someone who never dealt with conflict when they were with their family might find it super hard to deal with it on their own as an adult, so those kinds of backgrounds. And then also change. Like, I think as human beings, we don't love change so much.
Nah.
So every time somebody changes, it's like, wait, you used to be cool with this. What do you mean? Now we can't have ice cream? What do you mean you're doing no sugar? So I think those are some of when I think about conflict, I'm like, it could be affected by a lot of that. And just to echo what you've said, it's just about like that fight of understanding somebody and also wanting to be understood. I think that's where it really needs. Yeah.
Wow. It's interesting you say that, because how I view conflict initially was like we can argue. Like for me, I'm usually like, arguing is okay, but there's a limit to the argument.
Okay.
Like we can't always be arguing. But I feel like arguing is actually very healthy, because I usually view it. Maybe that's the reason why I loved the debate when I was in school. Because I usually feel like it's a good thing to try and defend your point. However, there's a cap on it.
Tell us the cap, sir.
The cap is accept defeat.
I see.
And I think, for me personally, I think that's what being in debate club taught me. Like, you can have a fair loss. And I think that's why maybe I usually am open to argument.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even if I lose the argument, it doesn't mean that my point wasn't valid. You just have a better argument. So I usually
Is that how you approached conflicts now with like your regular relationships? Yeah,
I'm usually like, I could be wrong. So I usually go into it like...
No, are you like, you've won this time?
Oh, no.
Next time I'm gonna get you. No?
No, not really. I don't view it like... Because that insinuates that you're like, you won this time, I'll get you next time.
Yeah. But the way you phrased it, I was like, wait. Oh, whoa.
Not really.
Okay.
It's just that thing of like, you have the better argument and you actually make sense. So, anyway, I'm wrong this time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, maybe I defend myself better or do something better. Because I think like the reason why sometimes people stonewall even in arguments is because, yes, you have an argument, but it's like, your argument is pretty place flani. So you always want, that's why people raise their voices, people throw things and people get physical. It's because you don't have enough words to express what you feel. And I think
you're also attempting to, like, it's like you're really attempting to have your voice and your opinions to be heard. And I think that's why I'm saying like background, because sometimes maybe as a kid, people weren't listening to you at all. So it's like, it's only when you threw a tantrum that the attention, you were able to get the attention that you needed. Do you think there's a difference between conflict in friendship and conflict in romantic relationships?
Yes and no. I think in relationships, it matters what kind of relationship it is. Because I would say...
friendship and romantic relationship.
Oh.
Those two, yes. Do you think there's a difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. But I don't think like it's like a huge stark difference. But most of it revolves around relating to each other. Because I think a big part of friendship is connection. And just connection and bonding. And then arguments, I think, are like, I would say, like the ceiling factor.
Yeah.
Because once you know how to navigate arguing, you won't leave friendship from a small or minor inconvenience. Like you are susceptible to be hurt.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, maybe you didn't come for my birthday because da 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 da.
Yeah.
But there are people who take arguments
That.
personally, or they circle it back to, you did this last time, I'll also get you here.
Yeah.
So I think, but in now a loving romantic relationship, that is more of, you're choosing a life partner.
Yeah.
With friends you are, however, with now a loving, a romantic relationship, that goes to intimacy that is, I would say, more than just friendship. I think it's like
there's a different level of intimacy.
Yeah, it's like a tier higher of intimacy, because there you're now sharing finances, you're sharing assets, you're sharing ideas, you're sharing a household.
So what you're saying is that there's more to lose and there's a bigger investment.
Because with your friends, I mean, you meet them in certain situations, and it sort of does have some time limit to it. But with your partner, you're with them in the house on a daily, you're interacting with them, you're getting to see them without the mask of trying to be a person that they know you like. But with a friendship, they can lie to you for a period of time, but with time you have to you get to know it. So I think it's a bit different.
Yeah, I think I would say the same. I think for me, I would just say it's the level of closeness that this person has to you. Closeness and access, I feel like. I think with romantic relationships, I really like what you've said about like you're around this person much more and they get to see you on your off days. Because I feel like with your friends, you can have off days, but not as much as when you have them with your partner. So there is a level of accessibility and closeness that your partner gets that nobody else does. And that, of course, leads to conflict. Because I think sometimes when we think of conflict, we really think of arguing over the biggest of things. But it's like, but why would you put the socks there? Like, why would you do that? And then now it's a whole issue. And then, oh, you're never clean, you know. So I think maybe that's the difference, I would say. That with friends, you're close and it's great. But like with a romantic relationship, it's very different because you're much, much closer. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm very interested to know what you think of navigating conflict, say, in girlfriends and guy friends relationships. Yeah.
What do you want to expound a bit more?
So now, say my relationship with my male friends, how we navigate the conflict.
Sounds so odd, male friends. But say that, don't say boyfriend.
I just feel like Mr. Kagwa is looking at me.
No.
Why are you kidding? Shout out to Mr. Kagwa. But I think like how do you navigate that? Say like for your female friends, the conflict that say you might have, how are you navigating that? And say the guy friends conversations also. Even also now for me, but I want to hear how you navigate that.
I'm trying to see if there's a difference with how I do it, because I don't think there is. I think the same, because I was thinking about it like, should I handle women more sensitively or have the right time and place? But I'm like, I'd do the same with guy friends. So I think for me, I don't really have like what do I say? Like no. I think it goes across the board, because right now, all of them are my friends because I'm with mommy.
Yeah.
So I think I deal with it the same. I offer respect as much as I can to everybody,
Yeah.
get the right time and place. I'm sensitive about the conversation,
Yeah.
just being wise enough to know when and how to address it, and
Yes.
also have the conflict from a point of communicating the hurt or the pain that you feel, but also working towards a resolution. Because sometimes we can just say, you hurt me, you hurt me, you hurt me. And then now the other person feels bad. You feel bad because this person feels bad. And then you guys have not resolved anything. So just working towards resolution. Yeah.
I think
For you?
I think I'd say the same because how I see it.
You don't shout at people?
Nah, I'm not a shouter. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a shouter. Maybe even when I get angry, maybe the much I could go is be quiet until everything cools off, and then it's
Then
like,
you can have the
so
conversation.
now,
Yeah.
push the coffee near you. So we need to talk. The dreaded ones.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I'm more of a conversationalist when it comes to arguments or trying to patch things. And I think in a way, people are usually afraid of the confrontation because I like to confront.
Yeah.
And I think over the years, I've learned how to do it and not feel like you're attacking someone or you're coming off on someone.
Yeah.
So, which is really hard, I think, but I find it better to actually do it. And I don't say that there's a way I treat like ladies different
To
this
guys.
is like the conversation. If something happened, I definitely have the confrontation. But now with arguments, sometimes you do not know how the other person
Receives it.
responds,
Yeah.
and receives what you.
But that's not your responsibility.
True, it's not.
Yeah.
But now picture it in a guy and girl conversation.
Dynamic, yes.
And say, I am not. This is not my wife. This is a friend.
Yes.
Or a friend of a friend, because sometimes you can be in between friends.
Yes.
And then someone is angry at you, and then they start shouting at you, probably even throwing something at you. Like, I think maybe in those situations I would handle it differently.
For sure.
But if the person is calm,
And it hasn't happened yet. If it happens, I'll get back to you with the tea. Make sure you're following me on Instagram.
Oh my goodness. But I think I would also just handle it the same way. Like,
you'd handle it the same way or differently?
Oh no! When
handle
now
it differently.
it tries to get physical. I'm glad that none of my friends we ever got into that place where an argument got physical.
Yeah.
Both guys and even ladies, it hasn't gotten that place. Thank God for good friends.
Imagine you're arguing with a lady and then she slaps you. What would you do? Would you throw some punches, Mohanji? Would you throw some punches?
You know that Kevin Hart joke where he was saying like sometimes women would really push you to the edge, but it's like they're trying to see what can you do.
Yeah.
And then he said like you just run your hands around her head without touching her, and then you just make a sound. Woo! That is probably what
That's
I
what
would
you do.
And just be like, who do you think you're knocking?
But let me tell you what actually would happen. Yeah. I wanted to say, if that happened, you would have to say nothing. It's like, sit back. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that...
we don't condone violence, but we do advocate for self-defense.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Learn some.
Yeah.
How are you managing conflict? Think that
in
would
what
be-
sense?
No, just generally. Even with us, with friends.
I think I try and apply the same principles across the board.
Yeah.
But because every relationship I have is different in terms of maybe even where we are at, and how close we are, and how I've seen you handle conflict before, it guides how I'll go about it. So there are people I can have a conflict conversation with them on text, and we'll hash it out. There are people I need to call. There are people I'll need to voice note. There are people who we have to meet in person. So I think for me the same principles apply. Just be respectful, and I say it with like the notion of you can only show up the best you can for yourself.
Yeah.
How the other person receives it
Is on them.
is on them. And it's not to say like, kwenda huko, it's like I've communicated the best way I can, also based on the level of hurt. Because if you, I'm trying to look for examples and my mind is so blank, but there's a way that a certain situation will affect me differently than another. So if it's a super high emotion, if I come and I'm sharing how you hurt me and I start crying, imagine that's what I feel. And I've tried my best not to. And here we are, I'm crying. So just let me get through it. Don't hug me. Let me do it. Let me finish my words. So I think with every relationship, I do I make sure I'm as respectful as possible. I try and pick the best time. I try and figure out like, will this be a better conversation right now when it's happened, or should I talk about it later? How exactly would I like for this conflict to be resoluted? Because sometimes we place that responsibility on the other person, and then they are dealing with the guilt and shame and pain of, oh, I did this to this, I hurt my friend, So I try and have the same principles across board, but I also just measure it out based on the different relationships I have.
Wow, that's very interesting.
How did we handle our conflicts when we were dating? We can't really speak for marriage because we just arrived. But then this whole season, anything marriage related, we just arrived. We ain't got nothing to say.
Not ask
but
us about it.
Yeah, for our relationship, how do you think we navigated conflict? Do you have our conflict journey?
Join us on our conflict journey. We started from I think we actually have had a very good conflict journey initially.
Okay. I didn't let him finish the sentence. I'm sorry.
Initially,
yes,
it wasn't the best. In
For
fact,
sure.
it usually sometimes used to get very heated, and we didn't even talk.
But you're gonna say very physical.
Oh, no,
Not at all.
No, nobody
Never,
was harmed
never.
ever in any
Physically.
Yeah, physically.
Emotionally.
Nope. Emotionally, yeah, there was some hurt, but physically, none.
Yeah.
Of
How
which
is it?
actually, I think that one probably I'd say it later on because it doesn't make sense in that. It was really good because initially, as when we would erupt, because there was a day we argued, and I think we had some unresolved stuff.
Yeah.
And it happened to pop off when we were coming from a friend's place. I can't say specifically because the friend will know the day. And
I actually don't even remember.
we were literally smack on the side of the road, shouting at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they were, and as Shani said, it was a very small thing that escalated into something big. And I remember we had a very, it happened so fast.
Yes.
And then I remember we just looked at each other and we just continued walking. Didn't say anything to each other, got into the car, didn't say anything to each other. And
then somebody broke down crying. It was me. I was crying in the matatu. Can you imagine? Have you ever entered a matatu and you see those girls cry? That was me.
Yeah. So, and it was interesting because however much we used to have those heated moments, that was the one time that I think we had that was the most heated argument
we've ever had, for sure.
And I remember when you started crying in the car, I didn't know what to do. At first, I was like...
But can we talk about it for a second? This is a segue. Why do men get so shocked when women start crying?
Because what do I do now?
Console me.
How?
Bas,
you said, you are the instigator in the moment.
Wow,
they don't even want to hear you say anything. You're just like,
let me tell you,
shut up, Anthony. You're the one who caused this. Hey.
Sometimes we feel so guilty for even crying, because it's like, now I'm crying and then I'll put him in an awkward. Now it's awkward for both of us because I can't stop the tears and you're just there like, what do I do?
What do I do now?
You're just you're not blinking. Yeah. Give me something.
But I think how we handled it was really good. In hindsight, because at the time it's like, oh my God, she's crying now. Yani watu wote kwa hii mat wanashtuka sasa umefanyia nini msichana? Wewe mzee umefanyia nini wewe mzee? You know, like so but it was really interesting because we had a slight moment and I remember we held hands, then hugged it out kidogo and had a very sober conversation in the mat as we were going home. And I remember it was such a breeze because I think that was the first time like we really handled an argument really well. And we set ground rules. We were like, by the way, when we argue, we can't text the argument because that stays in your chat.
So wait, let's talk about the ground rules for handling conflict in a romantic relationship. And maybe it's just a disclaimer, it's our...
This is how
Yes, this is only our experience.
Yeah, so that was...
No texting. Like we don't text when we're arguing.
Yeah, we don't text when we're arguing. And,
talk on phone, video call, or in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kama imekukaza sana ningoje, unipigie. And also there's that bit of letting someone express themselves. Don't try
like
to...
listening.
Yeah, just listen. Actively listen. You might actually be in the...
actively listening.
You might be the one in the wrong. But let the person speak. And when the other person is speaking, also let them speak.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we've realized, like, even in arguments we've had before, it's usually maybe a misunderstanding.
Yes.
Or someone did communicate something earlier, or something was left out that
what
was
does active listening look like?
Just listening and not to respond first, and listening and just taking it in.
Yes.
You don't have to engage immediately after someone spoke. Like listen to it, take it in, and you can actually, what do we call it? Affirm your space in that conversation. Like say if you slapped someone, which didn't happen. Say you slapped someone. You can't, when someone say, by the way, you know you slapped me, you can't go, Miss slap. You know, like that, it's very triggering.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's very triggering. In that moment, you are the one who should be the most
caused,
silent.
Yes.
You have caused the harm, so you're supposed to
whether
listen.
Whether or not you think
your action
you have caused offense.
Yeah. So, and I
Can
think,
I add to that?
Yeah.
I also think part of active listening is asking leading questions.
Yes,
so asking leading questions means like every time there's a part of whatever this person has said you don't understand, you're like, so would you mind explaining further what you mean by this, or how do you think it made you feel? Like, how did it make you feel when I did this? How did it? So asking leading questions, and then also how would I call it, like reiterating the conversation back. So let's say someone says, you hurt me when you stepped on my toe. Then you as the person who has caused the offense is like, so what you're saying, and please tell me if I'm hearing this correctly, you were offended or you were hurt when I stepped on your pinky, or like, no, it was on my whole toe. So it creates that space to show that you're actively listening, and then you're able to understand the offense.
What the offense was.
I think another thing in even that ground rules is not being, like, don't give any other response other than understanding, hearing, like active listening, understanding, and apologizing for the intent caused. This is not the time to say it was not my intention to hurt you. I'm already hurt.
The intention was hurt.
That's not the time to say, because it does come off defensive and very dismissive of this person's experience, because they are telling you, this is what this action that you did, this was my experience. So when you say that was not your intention, but I'm the one who has gotten the so that's not the time to. So even if you feel differently, that's not the time to have that conversation. What you need to do in that time is apologize for the harm caused, that you have understood this person say, and then maybe if you still feel that you need to have that conversation, have it at a later time when the dust has settled, when this person is open to having this conversation, and just bring it back around in a very, soft, nice, calm way that maybe now will also express what you're feeling. But I will tell you that takes time.
Yep.
And experience. Yeah. What's another ground rule?
Those are like 3 years of trying and failing,
For
trying and
sure.
failing. So,
and it's about finding your rhythm. Maybe there are people who really like solving everything at the time, like do the whole thing. And it's just about finding your rhythm. But I think those are some. So be respectful for sure. Like be respectful in your conversation. Don't raise your voice.
Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to say.
If you feel like you wanna, and that's easier said than done, to be very honest. Because sometimes it's almost like you feel like when I raise my voice, you'll feel the anger I have. But it's not, I don't know if it's respectful. I don't think it is.
It's even hard for the other person to hear you.
Because they're just taken aback by all this energy. Exactly. So be respectful. Pick a time and date, or a time and place rather, where you can have this conversation. Don't pick the conversation when this person has just come from a 21-kilometer marathon, and that's when you want to tell him, you know, whatever you want to tell him. What's another thing?
Another thing was like the reconciliation after.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's actually super important because sometimes we only talk about so, okay, I'm sorry. Sawa, you're forgiven.
Now what?
Now how do we come back to each other? And that's not just romantic and friendships. Yeah, it's also for friendships. Talk about it.
I think one of the most important things, and I think we realized it a while back. Like, I'm really glad like how our reconciliation after arguments has been, because I remember we talked about like, you know how there's love languages, and then now there's reconciliation languages, like how people want.
Tell us more, Dr. Lam.
So there's a way how people want to feel like, I don't know what to call it, like feel like they were hard, and this thing that pained them has been ni kama umempapasa umemwambia okay bas.
Yeah.
You know? So, and it's important to know like my person is like this.
Yes,
when
for
they're
sure.
hurt, maybe they like a date after that. They want to feel like now they're seen, and now we're in a place where we can be calm, and now just to put some juice up there. Yeah, we are doing good.
Yeah,
you know?
To really feel secure again.
Yes. That's the word. To feel secure and confident
again. Yes.
in the person. You know, other people want some space or some downtime. There are people who want to fix it. Maybe it's touch. They want to be hugged, and they want to have an embrace after conflict.
There are people who like gifts as well. Let's not dismiss it, but also it's not everyone. Don't send flowers to as an apology. Do it as reconciliation,
not as an apology. So,
but if that is how your boat rocks, if your boat your boat rocks, my God.
So it's really important to have those conversations and know like this is how we solve things, and this is how we manage or maneuver certain conversations. It's really important. And in the long run, you get to see the fruit of it. I'd say even for us, even though you have said in terms of marriage, like we don't necessarily have a lot of information. Even how we used to date, most of it actually we have carried it into our marriage. Like there are certain ways that helped us in how to navigate conflict. We're also using them in marriage.
Now, for sure.
And I would say like, it's not that you get married and you stop having arguments. No, there is anything more. Because now we are in each other's space and we're still learning how to navigate much more. So I think I would say the navigating of it, we have really handled it well. And on the reconciliation bit, because that for us initially was the big challenge. Because we would argue, know how to handle that. Now the reconciliation
now getting back to being friends and being comfortable with each other.
I think it was hard because
How do you do that in friendship?
In friendship, it's really hard. But I think
it's also finding.
I think with guys, we do it more with jokes. So we don't make the moment so hard for both of us. And you know, for guys don't like awkwardness.
What?
And that's why even in relationships, sometimes when a guy would do something, the first thing that they want to do is make a funny moment about the thing. And girls do
that is not the time.
Girls they do not. Gents, I will tell you this. They don't do like it. Don't do it. So, but for guys, we
Yeah.
understand it because it's like, I don't want to be awkward. Like, okay, sana nimekukosea, and I'm sorry about what I did.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for a way to make it palatable for both of us.
Yes.
So that we can be able to move from this thing. That's why, like, for guys, when, say, we get into fights, later on we become friends because it's like, yeah, you know, happens sometimes. Yeah, whatever, man. But that punch was solid. So, like, there's a way. It just happens. I don't know how it is for girls.
I think it's different for every girl friendship, I would say. But like
the most common one.
The most common one is like long speeches of like, you know, even I didn't mean to, you know, even like, I really love you. You're my friend for real. We are sisters. Nothing will put us apart. And it's an emotional connection, I think, for us. Yeah. It's more like, we didn't want to offend you. I really love you. I want us to be great. I want us to be okay. Okay, then let's go for a date. Let's spend time together. And then it's like, fra la 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 la. And then, yeah, I think that's how I would say.
Into the sun.
Yeah. What do you think are signs of healthy and unhealthy conflict? So give me healthy ways people manage conflict, and unhealthy ways. So for example, unhealthy ways would be passive aggressiveness. Unhealthy ways would be silent treatment. Unhealthy ways would be manipulation, which I think is essentially like all those things. Like, you're trying to make someone bend to your will or bend to yes. So what are some signs of like unhealthy? So healthy is like now actually communicating when you are offended and working towards resolution. So what are some?
I think one of the unhealthy ways of conflict, I'd say, is that I really see a lot, even with our current generation right now. Is much more.
It's talking about the generation, friends. The whole generation.
It's much more stonewalling.
What's stonewalling?
Like, someone has just locked you out. Like, you're speaking, but they're not hearing you. They won't communicate with you. Yes. They have already made a judgment of what you're saying. So they, like, you are not getting through to them. No matter what.
Yeah.
Like,
is that also like making the decision for the both of you? Like, it's like we're not, for example, like the people cut other people off. So it's like we're not talking anymore, and there's no room for conversation.
Yes.
And okay.
So actually, even I was about to say that next, where it's like, it's either stonewalling or cutting people off. Because that's not a good way of dealing with conflict. Yeah. Because conflict will happen.
Yes.
And I think conflict is a thing that happens every day if you're keen to look at it. Sometimes it might be a small thing. And sometimes it's also like you can have conflict with yourself. Say you wanted to do something and you don't. So you have this internal conflict of, I should have done this.
Yeah.
No, I don't have time. No, I'm doing this. No, I'm doing this. And I think the first conflict with self is now, maybe you start self-sabotaging. That's bad conflict
you're
resolution.
Right.
Or say you start saying things like, oh, you know, me, I'm just
this is just how I am.
This is how I am. Mi nakuanga tu, like, mi sikwangi tu mpoana, maybe time. Sikwangi tu mpoana.
Oh, like I just don't pick my phone. I'm just not good at texting.
Yes. So you start making excuses for things that you can grow from. So you're like, you know,
you're right.
I don't like there's this thing I keep seeing on Twitter like a lot. Or on X.
Yeah, whoa. I was about to say, sir.
Whoa, Elon Musk.
What is that?
Whoa, don't send the bots. Like it's like a way where people just have this internal thing of, oh, you know, me, I'm an introvert. I don't like people. I'll just sit at home.
And my husband will come knock on my door.
When people cancel plans, I'm like, yeah, this rocks. No, like, go out, touch grass, live a little.
Talk to the Uchi.
Hey, say hi to people. Don't live by yourself. Yeah. So I think that would be a way I'd say is a bad way of managing conflict. A good way would be actually
signs of healthy conflict.
Signs of healthy conflict is one, having an open mind first. I'd say conflict is not like you, even when someone has hurt you or harmed you. Yes. The first way of handling that conflict is not going there thinking you're right. Because you also don't know what happened. No. So when you go there thinking, you know me, I know this is what happened and this, because you're only saying your own side of the story.
Like, okay.
You know how people say there is your side, their side, our side, and the truth. So like you go on with an open mind or an open heart.
With the open mind, could I add or ask, being prepared to like it going either way? Because sometimes you can try and resolve conflict and it's not resolved in the moment or ever. Like, you know, sometimes with relationships or friendships, you might not always be in agreement.
Yeah.
You might not always be on the same page. So it's those things for like we are agreeing to disagree. So like being able to accept that it can go either way. This person can either see that they have actually offended me and apologize for it, or they might be defensive and not apologize and never apologize. Yes. Do you think that's healthy?
Those are the worst ones. Because I think that's not healthy.
No, is it healthy for you as the person who's the like
Agreed.
they aggrieved and they start off the conversation, like going in with that expectation of it could go either way?
I think that's healthy because you're open to.
It's healthy for you. It's not healthy when the other person decides. Okay.
Yeah, because I think the really tough part about conflict is you never know what you'll get back. Like
For
you
sure.
never know what you'll receive.
For sure.
Like you'd go there with the best thing at heart. You're like, by day
You have the best paragraph.
Yeah, you have the best intention.
Yeah.
You have the best.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't play out how you think it would.
Yes.
So
being open to that happening.
And I think a very nice way also navigating conflict is just telling the truth.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes people would say, like, you know how, yes, you are grieved, but sasa unaongeza roiko, mchuzi, sijui nini. Like you're really just there.
Like the person
also,
stepped on my shoe, but you
like
even describe how the shoe is now changed a different color. You tried washing it.
The shoes was black, now it's yellow. Like just something
I
like,
get you.
hey, no.
Just
Also
adding too much.
Yeah, adding too much. And I think also that is on the bad side of how to deal with conflict.
Yes.
Because like don't add into it. Like sometimes you could see someone, like by this person is beat with guilt and shame.
But now
And
you're
also,
insisting on.
you are really insisting.
You're doubling down on them.
You did it. You double down. While the person is like,
yeah.
I
Give me
know I
healthy,
did wrong.
babe. Give me healthy.
Healthy is like just tell the truth. Be honest. Be honest. I think
be honest.
It's a very good virtue.
How do you how do you be honest and respectful? Because I think sometimes it's tricky to.
It's how you say it. You see how
Elaborate,
sometimes and I get this when I'm telling on X, it's usually like a thin line between honest.
Have you ever seen that meme for like like different movie scenes showing different social media platforms? So X is like this chick who just walks down and everyone is just arguing. I usually feel like it's so.
Yeah.
First of all, it's always either there are people who are arguing or there's something that's being talked about in passiveness, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
You're trying. Okay, so wait,
what's
who's
happening?
this? Who is
What's
being
going
referred
on?
to as? Yeah. So I don't know, man.
So I think, like sometimes, and I had it when a while back. Like I remember when Mandamano was happening.
Yes.
So someone was like, like we're really in a bad place if all the baddies are listening to America speak. So it's like even in conflict, like there are times where you can have conflict, active conflict, but then it's how you say something that really irks people. Like so you could be telling the truth, but the way you say it, people are like, "Aye."
Can you give me an example? Because I think sometimes, even me personally, I struggle with like, I want to be honest with how offended I am by this situation, but I also want to be respectful and not make it come off as though I am abusing you. Yeah, I'm like being sarcastic. Yeah. Just give me an example.
So it's like,
let's say you left the toilet seat up, and I don't like that you do that. So what's like an honest, respectful way of communicating that, and what's a dishonest, like a disrespectful way?
Or a bad way. I'd say a bad way would be.
Hey, you're not starting with me.
Start with the harsh one and then you go with the calm one. A disrespectful way would be, you know, sometimes I even wonder why you use the toilet. Because every time it's always up. Like when you in your household, you never learned these things.
Oh my
God. It's only hygienic for you to leave it closed. What's going on? That is very harsh. You're telling the truth, but it's very
Can
harsh.
you add on to that and say things like, I've always told you, and you're
When
always...
when you use those,
You're always, you never, I get you.
They make they make the situation more grave, and it could be just a simple thing. It's just like just turn the,
So what's an honest, respectful way
honest,
to say
respectful
that?
way to actually tell someone.
Yeah.
Just be like, babe, I really love how you clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
There's something about leaving the lid of the loo just down that really makes the toilet look nice. Even when I go after you, it feels like the person who left here was very considerate of someone else coming in. And that makes my work easier. Because sometimes it's really hard when I go in and find the lid up. How can we be able? Like, it's very...
I'm not laughing because I'm laughing because I know the chicks are like, what are you...
Yep.
Put the toilet seat down, Francis. Put it down.
So...
Oh my, that takes... that. Ooh.
It takes time.
No, actually, it takes also a lot of humility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you're offended, but...
You're not acting as if you're the only one who grieves people. You're the only one who can grieve people.
Yeah.
Because it's always, I think one major thing about conflict...
such a long part.
I know it is. And that's on respect.
I really love how you clean the house.
That's on respect, guys. If there's anything you learned today, that's on respect. There's a way you talk to people that...
No, honestly, but even when you said the two sentences, I'd be more responsive to the second paragraph than the first one. Because the first one, I'd just be like, whoa, why are you... What are you saying? Like, why are you coming at me like that? But the second one, I'd be so, wow. And then I'm like, I'm the one who... I need to put it...
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
there's a, and I think, don't read this book, but it's a good book anyway. But it's also not a good book.
Like, do you think women are... Because I'm really stuck on those two paragraphs. Do you think, and it's not just women, but like, do you think we are quick to go on option number one?
Yeah. Because
of even how we were raised and our parents used to talk to us? Because I don't remember like a time when... I've had so many stories of people being like, yeah, my parents shout at me, and it's not normal. It's not normal. So I think maybe it also influences.
Yeah, how you are raised influences a lot how you communicate your heart or your pain, but also it's navigating, because the person you're with can also bring out a lot about how you deal with things. I think a big part of navigating conflict is one. There's usually a lot of pride in being soft when you're aggrieved. So if you do not want to cool down, there's in no way you're going to solve anything.
For sure.
And I think now that's the pride of like, I am aggrieved. I want you to feel how I feel, and I want you to feel hurt. And you hurting the other person does not solve what was hurt. I think that
is
the painful part.
You really have to work up on that for sure, because I think that's how we naturally are. Even like kids, like if you look at babies who can't speak, whenever they are offended, they will throw a tantrum, and so it's our natural inclination to really feel our emotions and express them. But maturity calls for us to be more introspective, and then even like the way we address conversations, the way we're saying, like, not from a point of you always do this. It's like, no, I was offended when this happened, or like just trying to have the conversation in an honest, respectful, like all these things we're saying. It's not easy, and it takes time, and we really need to hold grace for one another when that happens, because man, like, we're all at different levels of learning how to resolve this. Maybe you've met or connected with a friend who has never dealt with conflict. They're surrounded by yes men, like people who always say yes, suck up to them. So you're the first friend who's coming in and being like, actually, that's not right. You don't rock with me like that.
You are wrong.
So it's also holding space for each other and having enough grace to be able to accommodate each other and see, okay, you don't like when this is done. Okay,
Yeah.
so how do I? So it's really holding grace and giving that benefit of the doubt of this person can change, they can grow, and give them time. I think sometimes we're so quick to cut off people and really write off people and be like, this is just how they are. The same way like the people are like, this is just how I am. We're also like, this every time they get angry, they always start shouting. Okay, how about now, you as the person who sees this, whenever you now get to that place where you're both calm, you can address it and be like, mbona shout?
Yeah.
Then you might realize, like, maybe that's how they were raised. Maybe that's how they want to get their point across, because that's when they feel heard. So once you get to learn and see, oh, this is how someone navigates it, you're able to kind of work out on. But that writing people off thing, I don't know. There's something interesting I want to ask. Do you think, okay, this is what it's there, it exists. What do you think are some of the conflict styles that exist? So like, what are some conflict styles that you have? No, actually, what are some conflict styles that you think I have and I think you have? So like, let me answer first.
Yes,
so like for me, I think the way you handle conflict, and this is before we worked it out and now we have our own rhythm. I think before it was a lot of avoidance. And
oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay. Avoidance, and it was either avoidance or I want to solve it now, fix it so that we can move on with our lives and get back to like
being okay.
Yes. Like you were so quick to be like, we need to be back to okay. So I think for me it was those two. For you? Kind sir, what do you think were my conflict styles? Like whenever we face conflict, what was my response?
I think whenever we face conflict, the first one I think was like just shutting down.
Yeah.
Or stonewalling and just being like,
Stonewalling?
Yeah, just like you're not getting through.
No, I'm nice.
This was before we found our rhythm.
Okay.
Before we found our rhythm, it was like you're out there in the doghouse. Stay there. I'm not listening to you. You hurt my feelings. Yeah. Because also like you're a really big feeler. Like you feel. Yeah. So it was. I think it was just
that's why I make great music.
You know. I think it was just that locking out, and to me it was that thing of like you always wanted you kind of, not always, you kind of wanted someone to feel what you felt.
Yeah.
It's that thing of like, I need you to be there, like in this silence that I'm not talking to you, feel what I felt.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like I could
you
understand.
Know, I think you said that I found so funny, but I felt so just. But I was like, because what other way is there? Was like you used to tell me like, whenever like I withdraw, I also want you to still pursue me in the withdrawal so that I can like make you feel bad.
Yes.
It's almost like
no.
punishing. It's like, no, nibembeleze. Staki.
Staki. Hata usinisongee, staki stories zako. And then it's like, why are you not, after it's like, why you not calling?
Yeah.
Like you didn't want to pick my calls.
Just keep calling.
No. It's not helpful. But I think that was like a way like we were.
How do you think we've been able to manage it now?
Right now, I think it's that thing of even when we are not arguing, we ask each other questions of how we responded to something.
Yeah.
Or when I said something, like your
reaction
was this, like where did this come from?
Yeah.
Why is it that when I bring up certain things, you have this need to respond or want to say something, like what's that? And I think for us, it has helped us that we've had a lot of hard and tough conversations that sometimes I think people think you can only have this conversation when you're arguing.
When you're arguing, for sure.
And I think for us, we have managed to have those convos even before we were arguing, when we were arguing.
Yeah.
And I think it has really helped us to face each other with tough conversations. And I think those tough conversations, I'd say I think maybe our second year and our third year, I think those were like really monumental years for us because we faced some really tough things and we were like, you know, that those ones you're not even arguing. Yeah. You're just like, this thing is bad, but we are not living. We have to figure out a way.
Yeah.
And I think those were like markers of how much we had love for each other and how much we were willing to hold space and figure things out. So I think we have navigated it the best way we could.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm grateful that we got here. So
Oh, I think maybe a way I think I would add also was my mind has gone blank. I think a way we navigated it as well was understanding each other's conflict styles and adjusting to it. So I remember like whenever I used to withdraw initially, used to be so not offended, but like you used to really question like, why don't you want to talk about it now? We can fix this now and move on. And I'm like, no, but I need to take my time and feel it and process it, and then I'll come and talk to you about like how it offended me. Now, prior to like initially when we started, maybe it would take days on end, like maybe 3-4 days of like complete radio silence. I'm inaccessible, I'm unreachable. But over time, if for those who are listening, he's currently crying. Over time, the window or like that time frame has really shortened.
yeah.
Not because it's been easier for me, but also it's just been I'm also understanding what my withdrawal is doing to my person. So it's like I want to hold space for I need some time to process exactly what I've gone through, but I'm also holding space for I'm with this person, and my silence and my withdrawal is really hurting them. So I need to also shorten it so that the reconciliation also doesn't take so long, or the similar number of, let's say, days that
There's been the conflict.
Yeah.
Because conflict it's a daily thing. And I think the
I
best
feel like now because we're living together, especially. Listen, like that days, I especially, and this is growth, I am like, we have to solve this now because we have activities for the day and I'm hanging with you the whole day and I don't want to be mad. Let's fix this so that we can just go on with our day and just,
True.
So, yeah.
But I think now that it works in our favor because we learned how to manage our conflict resolution path earlier. So now imagine if we were now navigating that now as the beginning of marriage.
Yes. It would be difficult. It would.
But I think already since we had like a system of how we do it,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so we can, and I usually like how we can sit with a tough moment. Like we talk and we are really mad at each other and we're just like, but then we have a convo. And then just out of nowhere, but then kuna TikToks nafaa kuonyesha. And then now, because it's like now that we have managed that thing of like, oh, I've remembered something. Another bad way of conflict resolution that people don't say enough or do enough is like holding it or taking it personal. Because it's not personal. It's not personal. Like something can happen to you and you feel like it's personal, but the other person, like that's
not
where
feel it's personal, guys. Are you with him?
Like
I'm gonna need you to run it back. Say it again.
So, nothing. It's not personal, unless
what is not personal?
Wait, the conflict is not personal.
Yes.
You see how people say, we are even when we argue, it's not about the person, it's the thing. So it's not personal to now. It's like you. It's like no. He missed a call. It was important. This. Maybe I wasn't near my phone.
Yes.
So it's not like you always miss your call. You always this. So it's not the person. Like it's don't attack the person. It's the thing that happened.
That is the person who did the thing.
Yes, but now the person. We hope the person you're with is kind enough to accept and see your side of the thing. That's why it's that thing of even during the conflict, you don't know how the other person takes it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think now, if you have a partner who doesn't want, or a friend or a family member or parent who doesn't want to take accountability of that, now it gets difficult for you because you're like, but nimeku confront, and you don't seem to see that this thing you did was hurtful or bad. So, yeah, but it just came to mind. I was like,
I think even when we've talked about our like our conflict resolution journey, it's really made me, or really reminded me that, one, it takes time, and we really need to give each other time. I feel like guys break up so easily in terms of relationships, in terms of friendship. Like, we really need to give each other grace. And then on top of that, we need to have our own personal development in terms of, if a friend called you out for something that you have done to them, or even a partner, take some time and introspect, reflect, try and change and be better. Don't always be the victim and say, you guys just always think I'm a bad person. Take time and actually see if there are changes that you can make within yourself to better yourself, to be a better person for the relationships you are in and the friendships that you are in. So, yeah. Do you have any question, sir?
Questions. I don't think I have questions, actually. Like, I think we have tackled like most of the like pillar things that people think of when it comes to conflict and resolutions. And
do you think all conflicts need resolution? On top of that, do you think all conflicts need resolution? And do you think every conflict should be addressed?
I think all conflicts should be addressed.
No matter how small.
No matter how small.
So even when somebody tells you a way that they have been offended, no matter how small you think it is, for them to bring it up means it is big for them.
So I think all
don't be a meanie.
All conflicts need to be addressed, because over time it becomes a big thing. Because now the piling up, it becomes, and then that's why you get like blowouts. Stepped
on my shoe, now I'm crying.
And you don't know, like, it's a streak of so many things.
Makanga amekukataa kurudisha change, unamtusi.
Yeah, I think all conflicts should be addressed.
Do you think all conflicts need resolution?
That one. Resolution. I think they all need resolution, but based on the type of hurt or response, sometimes you won't get a resolution. And I think that's the place where you need to be okay whether you get a resolution or not. But for sure, in terms of resolution, I'm not so sure it will always have a resolution, but now you always have to confront it.
Yeah.
Because now you, the confrontee, you need to say it, because now you're the one. If you start keeping your pain, you'll have blowouts. So
no, that's the confronter.
The confronter.
Yeah, the confrontee is the one mwenye ameambiwa amekosea.
Oh yeah. So you who's going to confront, make sure you're able to say it, so that it doesn't pile up on you, and then you have a blowout.
For sure.
And the one who's receiving, the confrontee, you also need to be open, because you might not understand the gravity of what you've done.
For sure.
Always be open to hear. You know.
At what point? I'm really thinking about, like, I'm trying to be as broad as possible. Yeah. At what point do you think, like, conflict, like, you've reached the level of conflict that you're like, now here, this, I have to call it off. No. Like, I have to call off like, this is not working. So at what point, what are some indicators that can make you feel like, sasa, here, we are not resolving this. Because maybe it's like you've said something and this person does not heed and just keeps doing it again and again. So at what point do you go like, actually, enough is enough, and I want to call off this friendship, I want to call off this relationship?
It's very interesting. I honestly think that if you get to a place where you're begging for a conversation, or you're begging to be heard, I think that's like a first marker of you're not getting through, and you will always be on the begging side.
Yes.
I believe if someone is your friend and they want to hear you, they're always open to finding out, like, why did you, like, it's not random that I just brought up something you did that hurt me. So having someone who is open.
Yeah.
But now, if you have someone who's closed off, I think the closed offness of people, that would be a first thing of like calling something off and just being like, you can't be closed off.
Yeah.
Because that means you'll have to keep dealing with closed off, and they will hurt you also do not take responsibility or take accountability of what you've done, because you can't always be right.
Yes.
That's not
For sure.
In no lifetime there is always someone who's just always right, unless you're Jesus Christ, and hey, he's not come back yet, so better get your life right.
Okay. Oh, evangelist.
So
Yeah.
like I also think also on that, like someone who feels like they're always right, like or someone who doesn't want to be confronted
Yes.
with or shown like the mistakes they have done, or something that they did that didn't sit well with you. Something as that you make you cut off a friendship.
Yeah.
I think I would stick with those four or those three, because I think they are very solid in terms of.
Yeah.
Of course, that also still goes back to the integrity of the person. If you're open enough, if you want to have a conversation,
Yeah.
you're not
I think
closed off.
I think I'm with you, because I'm like, the most important thing is are both parties willing to change without the constant berating of the confrontee or confronter, actually. Like, are you willing to change? Are you willing to develop and grow? When you're called out, how do you take the information? Do you see it as a chance to grow closer, or do you see it as this person is just coming to ruin my day, has whatever they have to say, and I'm just here to listen, and when they're done, I'm also done, and I'm not talking to them. So I think in and of itself, like, we should be people who want to actually make some changes in our lives to be better people for our people. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. If the person is not willing to change, because I think sometimes that there's that difference of, like, maybe I'm only changing the way you're telling me you need change. Does that make sense?
Yes,
but you're not changing holistically. You see, when it's your personal conviction as a confrontee, the person who has offended the other, to actually take some time to reflect, you might even find that there are other things that you also need to work on. So you find that there's a wholeness in the change that's happening in your life. Whereas if it's just you're just changing for this person, it's like you're only doing the things that they're telling you to change. So, for example, they're like, I'll only put the toilet seat down because you told me to, but because you didn't tell me about the socks. Guess what? Those socks are gonna stay there, Yeah. So I think that there needs to be just that personal conviction to change. And I have some fun questions for you.
Okay, let's go.
I'm giving you a real life scenario of a friendship conflict and a romantic one. So for the friendship conflict, the scenario is that a friend starts distancing themselves and you don't know why. So that's the scenario, okay? So the question is, do you confront them or do you give them space? So a friend starts distancing themselves and you don't know why. Do you confront them or do you give them space?
You confront them, because you want to know, like, why this space? Why are you secluding yourself, or you're giving the distance?
Yeah.
Because that shows that the person has already figured out this is not someone who likes you take time away from people. So when it randomly happens, it's like, I've noticed something.
Yeah.
So I would say definitely confront.
I think also because they're your friend, there's you can have that security of asking, like, what's happening? Yeah. Do you think you should be ready for any outcome, like whether they even respond to you or not,
or even keep you at bay?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Second scenario for friendship. You feel like you're always the one making effort in a friendship, which I know a lot of us at some point in our lives have related to. So you feel like you're always the one making effort in a friendship. The question is, like, what's the balance between when to address it and when to let it go?
I think after addressing it like twice or thrice,
and you see no change,
I think you have your answer.
So there's a balance of you, because they're your friend, there's a security of they
need to communicate what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I think
they owe you that, because
like you're friends, like you signed up to be my friend. This comes with friendship.
Yes.
Like if I ask you something, I hope or I expect at least a response.
Yeah.
So when that doesn't happen, it's like
Okay.
Hey, what's going on?
Okay.
Because you also don't want to be the person who's always on the other side. It also feels like you have a problem
For
where
sure.
you're hanging on someone too much. It's like they don't want to have a conversation with you.
So give them space, but when there's no change, let it go. Okay, so for romantic conflicts, the first scenario is that your partner shuts down during arguments when you want to talk it out. So how do you meet in the middle?
Look for the time when you guys are okay and have that conversation. Because if they shut you out whenever you're having the argument,
Yes.
you can't have that. You can't have that
So
conversation.
would you give them time and then have the conversation later?
Yeah. Later when let's say maybe you guys have kind of talked about it, but then maybe during the time when you guys are okay, that's when you bring up the conversation. Just bring it in a casual way, because I think sometimes...
Bring up what part of the conversation? The actual conflict or the fact that they shut down?
Yeah.
The fact that they shut down.
The fact that they shut down. Bring it in a casual way, because I think sometimes when we're having conflict, sometimes it can be very intense and serious.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so when you guys are maybe bubbly or chilled out,
then you
bring
can.
it up.
Okay. The second and last scenario is a small disagreement turns into a major argument every time. So how do you avoid escalation and focus on the real issue? This one we've talked about it. So a small disagreement turns into a major argument every time. So how do you avoid escalation and focus on the real issue?
Just make it, like, be calm about it, but don't make it about the person.
Yeah, make it about the actual.
About the action that happened.
I think I would also add, like, make it about your experience, not what the other person's, because they're the only ones who know their intention. So let them speak for themselves, and you share, like, this is how I felt. Yes. Okay, cool. So maybe to wrap it up, we have a Bible verse from Matthew chapter 18, verse 15. It says, if your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. So just make sure that you're actually able to have the conversation with the person who offended you and not the other friends who are in your circle. Have the conversation with the person first and then try and resolve it. If not, involve other people. And then when that doesn't happen or doesn't bring to like a resolution, then you can be able to pray and let go of it well. So I think maybe the basis of this conversation is that conflict is real. It happens to everybody. And we just need to find a way of navigating it better. So I hope that everything that we have talked about, you have been able to pick a few nuggets here and there. And yes, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all podcast platforms and on our social media handles so that we can be able to get to know you better even as we grow our community. But until then, stay blessed, stay creative, and remember, Squad Iko Sawa!